And welcome back to Orlando, Florida, and the Republican presidential debate. My colleague Megyn Kelly will take us through the next round of questions on government spending and debt.
Thanks, Brett. Governor Perry, Governor Romney has been hammering you on your idea of turning Social Security back to the states repeatedly. Can you explain specifically how 50 separate Social Security systems are supposed to work?
Well, let me just say first, for those people that are on Social Security today, for those people that are approaching Social Security, they don't have anything in the world to worry about. We have made a solemn oath to the people of this country that that Social Security program in place today will be there for them. Now, it's not the first time that Mitt's been wrong on some issues before. And the bottom line is we never said that we were going to move this back to the states. What we said was we ought to have as one of the options the state employees and the state retirees, they being able to go off of the current system onto one that the states would operate themselves. As a matter of fact, in Massachusetts, his home state, almost 96% of the people who are on that program, retirees and state people, are off of the Social Security program. So having that option out there to have the states, Louisiana does it, almost every state has their state employees and the retirees that are options to go off of Social Security. That makes sense. It's an option that we should have.
Governor Romney, you're satisfied with that?
Well, it's different than what the governor put in his book just 6 months ago, and what you said on your interviews following the book. So I don't know. There's a Rick Perry out there that's saying that almost to quote, it says that the federal government shouldn't be in the pension business, that it's unconstitutional, and it should be returned to the states. So you better find that Rick Perry and get him to stop saying that. Now, my own view is that we have to make it very, very clear that Social Security is a responsibility of the federal government, not the state governments. We're going to have one plan, and we're going to make sure that it's fiscally sound and stable. And I'm absolutely committed to keeping Social Security working. I put in my book that I wrote a couple of years ago a plan for how we can do that to make sure Social Security is stable, not just for the next 25 years, but for the next 75. Thank you.
And I would like to respond to that.
Go ahead, Governor Perry.
Speaking of books and talking about being able to have things in your books and back and forth, and your economic advisor talked about Romney Care and how that was an absolute bust, and it was exactly what Obamacare was all about. As a matter of fact, between books, your hard copy book, you said that it was exactly what the American people needed to have that Romney Care given to them, as you had in Massachusetts. Then in your paperback, you took that line out. So speaking of not getting it straight in your book, sir, that wouldn't be a good one
for you. Governor Romney?
It's kind of badminton.
Governor Perry? Governor Perry, we were talking about Social Security, but if you want to talk about health care, I'm happy to do that.
We are going to have a round on health care.
I actually wrote my book, and in my book I said no such thing. What I said actually when I put my health care plan together, and I met with Dan Balls, for instance, of the Washington Post, he said, is this a plan that if you were president you'd put on the nation? Have the whole nation adopt it? I said, absolutely not. I said, this is a state plan for a state. It is not a national plan. And it's fine for you to retreat from your own words in your own book, but please don't try and make me retreat from the words that I wrote in my book. I stand by what I wrote. I believe in what I did, and I believe that the people of this country can read my book and see exactly what it is. Thank you.
We got plenty of questions for all the other candidates up here tonight, but I want to stick with you on this one, Governor Romney. Congresswoman Bachmann has said that President Obama has, quote, ushered in socialism during his first term. Governor Perry says that this administration is, quote, hell-bent toward taking America toward a socialist country. When Speaker Gingrich was asked if he believes President Obama is a socialist, he responded, quote, sure, of course he is. Do you, Governor Romney, Governor Romney, believe that President Obama is a socialist?
Let me tell you the title that I want to hear said about President Obama, and that is former President Barack Obama. That's the title I want to hear. And let me tell you this, what President Obama is a big spending liberal. And he takes his political inspiration from Europe and from the socialist Democrats in Europe. Guess what? Europe isn't working in Europe. It's not going to work here. I believe in America. I believe in the opportunity and in the freedom that is American opportunity and freedom. I believe in free enterprise and capitalism. I believe government is too big. It's gone from 27% of our economy in the years of JFK to 37% of our economy. We have to rein in the scale of government, or we're not going to continue to be a free economy. I love this country. I spent my life in the private sector, not in government. I only spent 4 years as a governor. I didn't inhale. I'm a business guy. I'm going to get America working again because I believe in the principles that make America the hope of the earth. Thank you.
Governor Huntsman, this next one's for you. This week, President Obama proposed a tax hike on millionaires, saying that they need to pay their, quote, fair share. According to an August Gallup poll, 66% of American adults actually believe that a tax hike on the wealthy is a good idea to help tackle our mounting debt. Is there any scenario under which you could side with the 66% of people who believe that it is a good idea to raise taxes on millionaires?
We're not going to raise taxes. This is the worst time to be raising taxes, and everybody knows that. We need to grow. We need to be reminded of what Ronald Reagan told us so beautifully, that which is great about America, freedom. We need to reestablish freedom in the marketplace. We need to address our underlying structural problems that we have, and in order to do that, we're going to have to fix our taxes. And we put forward a program endorsed by the Wall Street Journal that phases out for individuals all the loopholes, all the deductions, and creates 3 rates, 8, 14, 23. On the corporate side, it phases out all of the corporate welfare, all of the subsidies, and it gets it from 35 to 25%. This is exactly where we need to be. We need to grow. We need to create jobs. This is not a point in time where we should be raising taxes. We need to fix the underlying structural problems in this economy. And until such time as we do, we're not going to provide the confidence to businesses who are looking to deploy capital in the marketplace and hire people. And that would be serious tax reform like I proposed and like I did in the state of Utah. And that would be structural reform as well, dealing with Dodd-Frank and repealing Obamacare, because they are presenting tremendous uncertainty in the marketplace right now.
Thank you, Governor. Mr. Kaine, this question was one of the top 10 video questions voted on by people online, and it comes to us from Lee Doran of Arlington, Virginia, via YouTube.
My question is, if you were forced to eliminate one department from the federal government, which one would you eliminate and why? Thank you.
The first department, if I were forced to eliminate a department, I would start with the EPA and start all over. It's out of control. Now I know that makes some people nervous, but the EPA has gone wild. The fact that they have a regulation that goes into effect January 1st, 2012 to regulate dust says that they've gone too far. So rather than try to fix it, eliminate all of the things that they have right now and then start rebuilding a responsible EPA. Now, with the rest of my time, may I offer a solution for Social Security rather than continuing to talk about what you call it? I have proposed the Chilean model. It's been around 30 years and it works. It's a personal retirement account. And in the last 30 years, not only has Chile succeeded with that model, but 30 other countries have done so. I don't think we're doing a service to the American people to keep bantering about what you call it and what you don't call it. The solution is fix it.
Speaker Gingrich, every day the federal government takes in about $6 billion, but spends about 10. Right? So we borrow 40 cents of every dollar we spend. Now, I understand that you believe that if we modernize the federal government, then it'll help a lot. It'll save billions. But given the resistance that we've seen in Washington, the seeming intractable resistance we've seen in Washington to spending cuts, how can you possibly slash spending by 40%? How can you do it?
Well, the way you described the question, you can't.
So that's it.
I mean,
stick up working us.
If you assume Washington remains the way Washington is right now, it's all hopeless. We might as well buy Greek bonds and go down together.
How do you get us past that?
Thursday in Des Moines, I'm going to outline a 21st century contract with America. It's going to be far bolder, far deeper, far more profound than what we did in 1994 or what I helped Jack Kemp and Ronald Reagan do in 1980. It's important to remember, this month in the Reagan administration, September 1983, we created 1,100,000 new jobs. Obama's socialist policies, class warfare and bureaucratic socialism, we created 0 in August. I believe with leadership we can balance the budget. I did it for 4 consecutive years. We went from $2.2 trillion projected deficit over a decade to $2.7 trillion projected surplus when I left. I think it is doable, but it takes real leadership.
Thank you, Megan. The next question is for all of the candidates. It comes to us from Atlanta, Georgia, on the topic of education.
Hi, I'm Stella Lohman from Atlanta, Georgia. I've taught in both public and private schools and now as a substitute teacher. I see administrators more focused on satisfying federal mandates, retaining funding, trying not to get sued, while the teachers are jumping through hoops trying to serve up a one-size-fits-all education for their students. What, as president, would you seriously do about what I consider a massive overreach of big government into the classroom? Thank you.
That topic is for all candidates, and to get everyone to weigh in, 30 seconds each, please. Governor Johnson.